It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
So you may be asking this question, why does this matter, guys? Why are you telling me, why are you giving me permission to spend? And here's the reason, because there are some downsides. There are some downsides of living like you're broke or living like you're not where you're supposed to be when in reality, maybe you are where you're supposed to be.
Well, I think we're kind of unique, Bo, because we have all this aspirational content telling people how to become successful, but we have hit upon a nerve recently where we've done the dark side of being a millionaire. Mm-hmm. And part of this comes from we work with so many successful people that we get to hear the feedback of what's working, what's not working, and even they are confessional to us when there's trouble in paradise. Yep. And one of the first things I can tell you, if you're trying to figure out the downside of living like you're broke when you're actually rich. Now look, I am the creator and master of forced scarcity. Yep. I do want you to have a concept to, while you're being aspirational and building your wealth, I want you to, just like when you get those pay raises, I want 40, 50, 60% of that new pay raise to go towards your savings of the future. But there will come a point that's not necessary. And if you are still having, because this is a phone call I had probably less than 3 months ago, I had a dear friend let me know there were some things going on within the marriage. And when his wife was, when they started really talking about this and peeling back the curtain of where the pain was, this is a couple my age that is sharing that the wife was really troubled that the husband was still having her give receipts on gas. Mm-hmm. Every time she went to the grocery store, every time she went to shopping, he was asking for a receipt because he was feverishly still recording every transaction into his spreadsheets and all these other things so he could track the budget. Mm-hmm. I'm all about when you're early, start budgeting. You've got to have discipline in your life. I'm all about graduating from the budget to a cash management. But there is going to come a point where if you have everything on an automated process where you're paying yourself first, you're doing the 20 to 25%, you can see your army of dollar bills working, that if you are still making your spouse give every receipt, you're going to build resentment.
That's exactly
it looks like control. And if you're requiring that much control, that's not a healthy relationship.
That's exactly right.
So that's a downside.
And I think what you're saying is relationships can become toxic. And so, again, this is an intern Daniel-ism that was so beautiful. He said, yeah, it's kind of like what you guys are talking about. When people start thinking about this stuff and sort of like idolizing, being so tight and tracking everything, they kind of turn very Gollum-esque, right? Yeah. They kind of start thinking about that way about money. You want to make sure that you just don't fall into that situation. You don't want to be someone who holds on to it so tightly that you allow toxicity to enter into your relationships.
Well, I think, and this is one of those things, I'm trying to balance this when we're creating content, because I know when we talk about the value of 88 times over and how powerful your money is, we do want you investing. We want you putting your army of dollar bills. But I tell you this to you all the time, Bo. I'm like, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You're only in your 20s once.
Yep.
Take a deep breath. You're only in your 30s once. So you got to make sure you're still taking time. You walk that tightrope. You're quickly balancing between building a future with financial independence, but also building memories, having experiences. Right. What's funny is my wife just sent me an article. That's right. My wife is trying to help us with the content creation too. She reads Travel and Leisure.
Okay.
And there was a whole thing talking about the fact that if you are spending money on experiences, there's so many other side benefits. You actually typically, they've done research now, you actually turn out to be a more generous person. Mm-hmm. You don't focus on the negative. You're more of an optimist because these experiences, as I've shared with you guys, they blossom. They get better. Mm-hmm. What happens with things? When you buy things, they actually rust. They fall apart. They get antiquated. They don't continue to work better. Your memories, good or bad on the exaggeration factor, they actually blossom into better things. So you got to pay attention to those things, because if you go through and you have a miser type life, there's a reason Ebenezer Scrooge kind of, we look at that at Christmas and we go, oh man,
why would you ever be like that?
Wow, that guy's rich. Why would he do that? It's because he's a miser. Mm-hmm. He's not balancing creating experiences, enjoying life. And there is a balance between the sacrifice and then the spending. And that's why we want to give you permission. If you check the boxes, make sure you're taking time to celebrate and create those memories.
And look, I don't know if this helps you guys, but we tell folks this all the time. You're doing a great job building assets and saving and being so tight. But odds are, if you're leaving a lot of money behind to the next generation, your kids are going to have no problem spending your money, and the stats show that. We've seen that 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation.
Yeah.
That means that Junior and Juniette have spent the money. 90% lose it by the third generation. So there is no purpose of you building up the Scrooge McDuck swimming pool full of money, backpedaling in it, and not actually creating those experiences, not actually using the money as a tool, not as a goal itself.
I watched a Denzel Washington clip on YouTube. YouTube's the algorithm is so awesome. It gives me all these. This past week, Steve Harvey, Denzel Washington, they've all been popping up on my YouTube feed. I don't know what the algorithm's thinking is going on, but Denzel said this, and I'm sure he got it from somebody else too. But he goes, "You never see a U-Haul following the hearse.
That's right.
You just don't." And then my pastor, just this weekend, he said, there's a famous quote out there as they asked Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller's accountant, how much he left behind, meaning they wanted a number, and he just gave the simple answer, all of it. You don't get to take this with you, so you better make sure that you have a purpose, a why for every dollar in your army, because if you're just doing it to have a number, it will be empty. So make sure you're taking time to build memories. That's why we do want to make sure you understand the 3 steps of what you can accomplish and give yourself permission to spend. Bo, give us a quick review of what those 3 are again.
Yeah, sign number 1 that it's okay to spend is you're following FOO. You're following the financial order of operations. Sign number 2 is that you're saving 20 to 25%. Once you've hit that number, it's okay to let off a little bit. And then number 3, when you've done the hard work of building wealth, your army of dollar bills actually works harder than you work.
Oh, man. Guys, these were, like I said, it's one of those squishy shows where we're giving you the behaviors of things, but we try to throw you enough data out there. And I want to tell you about a data point we're paying a lot of attention to. We just put it, I couldn't believe it. You guys, it was like late Friday or early Friday. We crossed 50,000. I was so mad because I had visions of us like doing a live broadcast or doing something where we streamed that we were about to cross 50,000. Had no idea it was going to happen like at 2 in the morning or something like that. So we wake up the next morning, we're way past 50,000. And I was like, oh man, we blew an opportunity there. But you guys have been giving us a lot of well wishes. But here's the goal. Please, please, please do not keep us a secret. Tell your friends and family about the Money Guy Show, because I want this number to be 100,000 by 12/31 of this year.
You just spoke it.
That is a huge goal. And when you speak it, when you write it, it kind of means it needs to happen. So I need your help, guys. If y'all will help us reach 100,000, please tell your friends and family, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ring the bell for good service so you all actually get all the notifications of what's going on. And it will, this is fun. We're having an absolute blast. A lot of you guys when we were at, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 subscribers, like, man, it's a travesty that you guys don't have even more subscribers. We want to keep that momentum going. So thank you for helping us with that. And it also ties into this abundance cycle.
Yep.
We come here, you're like, if this is your first episode, you're like, wow, these guys, they're throwing a lot at me. What's the catch? Where's the infomercial?
Where's the sales pitch?
There's a sales pitch. It's coming somewhere. Well, here it is. We want you to come here, learn all the free information we're giving you. Learn. I want you to start applying some of these concepts in your life. There will come, and it might be years. We're planting seeds. Just like I was talking about that kernel of corn earlier. We're planting seeds that I know it's going to start blossoming. It's going to start showing some green. And then it's going to turn into a stalk. And it's going to eventually start bearing fruit. And when it bears fruit and you're realizing you're so successful, you need somebody to kind of be in your corner and help you out with the process. You're going to remember, who was the one that helped me plant that kernel of corn? And you remember the Money Guy team. And that's where the Money Guy abundance cycle comes to fruition and kind of reaches the heart. That's when you harvest the fruit at that point. So guys, the abundance cycle, it's worked since 2006, and we just love you and appreciate and do not take for granted. That's why we work so daggum hard, is that we want to continue to give you guys great value and content.
If you haven't had a chance to check out one of our live streams, make sure you do that. After we turn off the recording device right now, we're going to stay on here, and we're going to do some Q&As. We're going to answer some questions. It's the only way that you can get a Money Guy tumbler. Some folks told me we might even start sending out some Money Guy koozies with them. I don't know. You'll have to hang out in the Q&A and see if that actually happens. Thank you guys so much. Go out to the website, moneyguy.com. Go check out our resource page, and we just thank you for letting us hang out with you.
Money Guy team, out.